Hello everybody, Mark, aka the Nerdy Punk, back with you again today for a new video. And as you can tell today, we are classing it up a little bit. Brought out the suit because we're going to be talking about James Bond today. The new Bond film, No Time to Die, releases here in the United States on next Friday, October 8th, 2021. That film has been delayed so many times, but it's finally coming to us. And today what I thought I'd do is I would resume the series that I actually started last year on the channel, in which I'm going to review every Daniel Craig era James Bond movie. So last year I made a review for Casino Royale. If you want to check out that video, I will try to leave a link to that in the description. If not, just go on my channel and you'll be able to find it. I love Casino Royale so much. It is by far my favorite of the James Bond films, and I absolutely adore that film. So anyway, I'm hopeful that No Time to Die will be at least close. You know, I do not expect it to be better than Casino Royale, but if it can be solid, I will be happy. Today we are going to review the second Daniel Craig era James Bond movie, which is Quantum of Solace, released in 2008. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my thoughts on the movie. I will be continuing this series after Quantum of Solace by reviewing Skyfall as well as Spectre. So, Quantum of Solace. It's a lot of people's least favorite Daniel Craig film, and most people consider it to be one of the worst in the series. I'm not going to quite go that far. This movie is a mixed bag, for sure. There's a lot of issues with it, and I'm going to get into those issues today, but it's not nearly as bad as I think people make it out to be. I certainly enjoyed myself watching this movie. It was a good time. You know, it may not be the best film in the series by far, but it was certainly an enjoyable watch to me. So, my first kind of major issue with the movie is the way that it goes about its action sequences. So, there's a lot of shaky cam used in this film, and from what I've heard, it was a very deliberate choice, and it wasn't like a lazy choice or a trend chasing choice, even though there was a lot of shaky cam going on in the late 2000s. They chose the shaky cam for a very specific reason, to kind of make it feel disjointed, and to, you know, make the audience kind of feel like Bond was supposed to be feeling during the movie. And so I do enjoy that. However, they are very difficult to watch. Like, there's a lot of action sequences where you just don't know what's happening, and it's like a whirlwind. And I get what they were going for, but at some points it even got painful to watch. Like, my eyes were kind of hurting watching the movie and trying to figure out what was going on. So the action sequences were overall a minus for me. There are some redeeming qualities to the action, so there's a couple scenes that I thought were really good, and I really enjoyed watching, but there's a lot that just didn't make sense to me, and a lot that I struggled with. The Bond song for this movie was created by one of my favorite musical artists of all time, and Jack White, and while I do love Jack White, I'm not a massive fan of this Bond song. It definitely feels a bit out of place. The lyrics are not fantastic. He does a duet with Alicia Keys on this, and to me their voices just didn't really mesh together all that well. It was a strange pairing in my opinion, and so I'm just not a huge fan of this Bond song, and I think they could have gone with a much better song. But, you know, the instrumentals I think are pretty good, especially when it starts out. I feel like it starts out really well, and then the chorus is just strange to me. So anyway, this really didn't jive with the film at all. More negatives with the movie. So the main villain of the film is Dominic Green, who is the most generic, basic villain that you could possibly imagine. I mean, he is evil for the sake of being evil. Like, it never goes into his motivation. He's just a guy that's chasing money. And so I do understand some of the choices that they made, but I feel like it could have been executed much, much better. I kind of picked up on some commentaries on natural resources and capitalism and, the decisions made by, powerful governments as to, taking over other countries. I did think that there was optimism there in making some social commentary, but it just was not executed well. And so that kind of fell flat for me as well. Let's get into some positives. So there are some positives with this movie, in my opinion. So I enjoyed the way that it did follow up Casino Royale. I'm very happy that this was a direct sequel because you get to pick up where Bond left off, after Vesper has died, and you get to see him go through those stages of grief. And that ties into my other favorite thing about this movie, which is the Bond girl. Olga Kurylenko is one of the absolute bright spots in this movie. She is, in my opinion, one of, if not the most beautiful Bond girl. That may be also my own personal bias there, but I think she is super duper attractive, but she's a super great actress, and her character arc is probably the best in the entire movie. I mean, it's either hers or it's Bond's, and there's really nothing else that comes close to it. She provided a lot of the heart to the movie. She and Bond are kind of in a similar emotional state throughout the movie, and she's also one of the only Bond girls that does not sleep with Bond. She's not really a romantic interest, which I enjoyed. That was a completely different way of going about it, and not following the Bond tropes that had been, established before. So I really enjoyed that part of the movie. I thought her character was fantastic and what they did with her. The plot was pretty inconsistent, in my opinion. That ties in with an earlier flaw that I mentioned about how they had some opportunities to make a statement, but they really just didn't hit home with it. The third act gets absolutely insane. It's batshit crazy, like what happens in the third act of this movie, but there's very little emotional payoff, in my opinion. The final scene, I think, is the best emotional payoff of the film, and that's where you see, Bond really taking a step in his emotional arc of the story. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of emotional payoff at the end for me. And that's, I think, a lot of the problems of the plot of this movie. I did kind of forget to mention, but this movie was made during the writer's strike of 2007. And so, of course, they didn't have actual writers to finish this movie. So they had like half of the movie done, and the director, Mark Forster, and Daniel Craig decided to rewrite it themselves. And that's how you kind of get this movie that feels like it doesn't have a cohesive plot, and it doesn't know exactly what it's trying to do. So Quantum of Solace is certainly a flawed movie, but I don't think it's, anywhere close to the worst Bond film. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 in terms of a grading, just kind of slightly above average. What do you think about Quantum of Solace? I'd love to know your comments down below. Definitely stay tuned for future reviews of the Bond movies as we get up to the release of No Time to Die. Are you guys going to be seeing that movie? I'd love to also hear your thoughts on that one. I will be doing a standalone movie review for that movie as well when it comes out. So again, the next week, look forward to Skyfall and Spectre, and then next Friday, I'm going to go see No Time to Die, so I'll hopefully get that review out to you guys relatively soon. So have a great weekend. See you later.